5:01, and I am going to call to order the Swisher City Council Budget Workshop meeting. Can I have roll call?
Klein.
Here.
Koenig.
Here.
Pujol. Roder.
Yeah.
Stagg.
Here.
Nobody here tonight.
Okay, for the agenda, do I have approval of the agenda?
Approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
I got a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now we're gonna go to work on 2026 budget.
Yeah, so I presented the revenue worksheets for you to review. We can go through these. Page 1, we'll just start right here at the top. So the FEMA, I checked with, is it Dave Wilson at Emergency Management? He said there is grants available. He said what he called, basically, it's not worth the squeeze of the lemon for the amount of juice you're gonna get. But when I researched and found some grants online through FEMA, the federal portion that would, and these were for the siren, a new siren, if we can get a grant. Federal would fund 75%, state would fund 10%, and then that means that the city would have to fund the remainder. Now, in an update from Dave, he said an all-solar siren, what they've been finding is they're just shy of $40,000 right now. There is some type of a company that you can get some refurbished ones at a much cheaper cost. And he had somebody else in the loop on the email to check in for us on that. So anyway, if we were to get the grants, that's the monies that we would get based on a $40,000 siren that you'll see in expenses when we do hit those. For building permits,
So,
go ahead.
just
Yeah,
out of curiosity. So you're saying 30,000 and 4,000, and if it was $40,000 for it, we'd only pay 6,000?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep,
We
there's
get
the
the state-
15% would be the city's share.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, is this a siren, is it replacing the one we've got now?
this one right
This one
here.
isn't working?
It
This
works.
one is.
I mean, I hear it when it goes off, trust me.
You should.
But I have heard from people on the west side of town that they don't hear it. And then I think Julie, and when Julie was mayor, I communicated that with her. And that's where she had communicated, I think, with Dave, and Dave gave her a quote at that time of, what did we have? Was it like 37,000, 30-something thousand?
Is it a directional siren we have now?
I don't think
No,
it
it shouldn't
is.
be.
Yeah, no.
And that's one of the big problems with that siren that we discussed at last meeting when you weren't here, was it is so outdated in terms
Yeah.
of current.
Don't circulate like the others do.
So it's a non-directional, pushing the sound twice as far
I
as
think
what
it's
it
just kind of
should.
a cone, isn't it?
It is, it's
Yeah.
just
It's
a,
an old one.
Yeah, so I don't know, at that point, that's a discussion to have. If you keep that one just for this area and then put a different one out there, we'll just have to do some evaluating and see what we need. But those are the revenues should we get the grant. So building permits, you can see we currently have $760 of permits in. And then the council had increased those fees, and then I think I'm anticipating about, 10 more houses to be built maybe in the fiscal year, so I bumped that up to $2,500. An insurance grant, I budgeted this in, I didn't see it anywhere else that I could find. The city's insurance, which is ICAP, they offer a grant every year for like safety equipment. So I budgeted it in, we'll see, you're pretty much guaranteed you're gonna get it as long as you have some good safety equipment to purchase with it. $290 is our charges for services on garbage. I upped that a little bit, again, just based on the additional houses that we hopefully will be adding, right? I left garbage and yard waste tags the same. State grants, these 410s, where you see the numbers on the left, 001, 410, these are what Laura's budgeting in. 500, 1,500, the county contribution of 48,046, Shuey'sville's contribution to the library of 6,500. Other grants, I don't know what that is for, but she budgets in 500 every year, and you can see, I'm sorry, I probably should explain to a couple of you guys. So the columns at the top, 2 years ago expense, do you see that?
Mhm.
That's 2 fiscal years ago. LYR, last year's expense, is last fiscal year, so fiscal year '24. Current budget, obviously that's self-explanatory, and then expended year to date, and these worksheets are showing you what has been expended through January of '25.
How much did you up that, charges for service?
I only upped it based on houses, I think it's maybe 10 houses to be built in
Which is-
fiscal year '26, or by the end of fiscal year
Which
'26.
is kind of what they were
Yeah,
projecting up here.
so you can see, Kurt, under current budget, we're at 87,024, that's
So you wouldn't have
the amount
about
budgeted,
3,000.
and we're over that already. I mean, 6 months in, we're over, I guess, kind of roughly figuring it. I think we'll be over $87,000 the way it is. I forget where we were you?
You're down on
Oh, yeah,
donations.
Other grants.
Other grants, yep, donations of 1,000 for the library. She didn't budget any refunds or rebates. She does a few book sales every year, some fines every year. I don't know why there's a second state grants in there. It's not been used. Flipping to page 2. There is no fees to be registered at the library anymore. This donations, I don't know why there's 2 separate donations. I didn't question more on it, it's just what she does. Go ahead.
Oh, that one, we spent 5,400, is that what we're saying so far?
No, these are revenues, Daryl. This is
Okay,
money
yeah,
coming in.
Yeah, I figured the revenue.
I'm sorry, 430 is parks. So that $5,400, do you remember here just not too long ago, Cody had done an event and submitted money, whatever that event generated, and then Willow's donated some money as well
Okay.
for improvements to the park. I'm sorry, 430 is the park, yeah. Nothing in the 510, 910 is just transfers in if we were needing any transfers into the general fund. Then 950, these are property tax revenues. So this is our general fund property tax revenue based on those worksheets, budget worksheets that you saw last meeting, right? The ag land, what that'll bring in, our liability insurance that we're gonna levy. EMA brings in the same amount, Dave said 681 every year for, I forget how many years coming out now. The utility replacement, that's funded by the state. I lowered cable franchise. It just, looking at the history of 2 years ago and last year, it just seemed like we're not gonna be close to getting $14,000. So I lowered it down to 10. Beer and liquor permits, those are the handful of permits that we have here in the city. 1 cigarette permit of $75. I doubled peddlers and solicitors because you upped those fees again, so. No UTV. Page 3 then, the interest, I'm guessing maybe we'll get about $500 in interest in our general fund. Nothing you don't have to separate out road use, so you can see that hasn't been used for a while. Any other state grants there, if we were to be looking for any reimbursements, I don't see it. Sometimes you do get miscellaneous reimbursements, but I don't know how you budget for it. As you can see, the $69.63, I don't even know what it was for. Tier 1 BPTC is the amount that the state reimburses based on, God, what is that one? Is that based on the rollback? Because between that and the commercial and industrial property tax replacement, I always get them mixed up. But the Department of Management gave us worksheets to calculate these in, and those were the calculations based on our assessed values. Charges for services, that I believe is like when we get this little miscellaneous, we don't charge for utility cards, you know, we haven't had any. That explains that. And no refunds, although we might get something in, you never know. And miscellaneous, always budget in 500. So total general fund revenues of 583,642. The 002 fund is designated specifically for the library, and again, these are Laura's numbers that she had requested be placed in for revenues. I think these are for specific projects or specific programs that she uses. Any questions on page 3? Page 4. So 003 is the park reservation. So again, we upped the rent of the pavilion. So I upped this based on the number of reservations we had in last year. Nothing else is used in this. I don't see us getting a whole lot of interest, so I'm not gonna budget for us getting maybe $10 or $15 of interest or 30. So we're flipping. You see in page 6 where I crossed those accounts off, that is the Swisher Youth Sports Group. The money that was held, we will never use those accounts again since they now have their own money. Yeah, they have their own money. So page 7, 110, that's road use tax, about halfway down the page. Yeah, so $300 in interest based on balances held. Budgeting in $128,500 in road use tax. Revenues coming in to the city, and maybe any miscellaneous revenue that we get. Somebody busts a sign, hits a sign, messes something up, and we have to repair it, we might get a little bit of revenue in there. Nothing in the rest of them. 112 is our employee benefits, and this is the fund that our FICA and IPERS and work comp, they have to come in that way when we levy for those benefits. They have to come into this fund. State says it has to. And you can only expense certain.
You're talking about 49,000, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
How come it's listed property taxes?
Says
Because
property
it's,
taxes.
because it's a levied tax. It's based on property, it's paid through property tax revenue.
Okay, because we had property tax
Oh, I see.
earlier, this is in addition to that.
Yep, this is the FICA and
Okay.
IPERS and work comp that we're levying, that we're creating a tax levy to pay for. The utility replacement that we get on that, the tier 1 BPTC and the industrial replacement. I can tell you that commercial and industrial property tax replacement, you saw one earlier. It's, this is when the state decided to roll back in commercial and industrial property tax to more in line with the residential rollback. And then they said, well, we'll backfill that for the cities, but then now it's like, they were gonna backfill it at 90%, they backfill, and then 80 and 70, and I think we're down to about 60%, and I think it's gonna probably go away.
And it won't get backfilled.
Right, so emergency levy, that no longer can be used, that emergency levy is actually put into the general fund. This is the last figure on this page, local option sales tax. This is hoping, right, hoping that that passes, yeah, yep,
And if that doesn't pass,
yeah,
not good.
We're short 300,000.
yeah,
That's kind of the gist.
correct.
Now, how is that figured, is that based on sales tax for the whole county? It's not for just the city of Swisher?
It is on the whole
It's
county.
a whole
Okay.
county.
Uh-huh.
Whole
Yep.
It's appropriated by the population?
Correct,
Correct, and if it doesn't pass in Swisher, we just don't get those funds from the
Right.
Somebody else
Goes
gets it.
elsewhere.
Correct.
Well, it'll get divvied up into the cities that do have it.
Yeah, it gets to the cities that does pass it.
Like there's Liberty or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
City or something.
Yeah,
And we're already paying that local option sales tax now.
Yep.
yes, mm-hmm. So any just little interest that we might get if we hold a positive balance in that fund, is the next line item at the top there. The 125 fund, that's our TIF fund. And based on what we requested for what we service, some debt with TIF, we are gaining $84,848. Actually, I think I requested the entire amount. Not just only, and we were talking a couple $1,000s based on what we needed compared to what we got. So it wasn't like we were getting tens of thousands more dollars. And possibly a little interest we'll get on that, if there's a balance in there. The 200, these are debt service funds. As I think you've heard me say before, and probably Tanya before me, any debt that the city has, the payments to pay the principal and interest on that debt must be paid out of a debt service fund, a 200 series fund. So the 200 and the 201 were set up for some type of previous debt that the city had, no longer are used. Turn the page to 10. The 203 debt service fund is for the Division Street project, correct, thank you. And we service a portion of that project with a debt levy. I remember it was paid, portions paid with debt service, portion through this fiscal year 25 is paid with local option, portion with TIF. I think that's it. Let's see, debt service, local option, TIF. I think that's it. If you want me to verify, I can go pull the file.
So that's for the Division Street project?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, those are GO bonds, aren't they? General obligation?
yeah.
But the general obligation, aren't they through taxes?
Yeah, that's why you're levying a tax.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't,
You don't have to levy a tax.
okay, you lost me where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're
Yeah.
gonna start spending some money now.
Nope, we're still, these are still revenues.
Okay,
This is the amount of money we're gonna get off of
From the-
property tax
Okay.
from residents
Oh.
to pay for a portion of that debt.
so the property tax, you don't have it in one account, you've got it in several accounts, okay.
Oh, yeah,
It's
That's
split.
where you
you
lost.
have to, yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So then again, the utility replacement, the tier 1 BPTC, the commercial industrial replacement, the transfer in is transfer in from TIF. And is like I put a note there for you, the fiscal year 25 is the last year that we have scheduled to service that with local option. Now, let's stop there, look up from your papers. If local option passes, we can service, because remember, I think it was at 50% was in the, on the ballot. 50% of local option, so 150,000, must be used to relieve property taxes. So we could, if we get local option sales tax, now, we won't wanna do it in fiscal year 26 because we're capped, we can't stop the money from coming in at that, once it's certified, right? Once we certify this budget, we can't stop that money from coming in. But in fiscal year 27, because we'll still have debt on Division Street, we could use local option for this or any of the debts that we have, instead of levying a tax.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Any
Which-
questions about that or
Which
on
would be a
that?
good thing to do,
Yeah,
instead of levying tax.
right. Okay, so the 204 debt service levy is for this 2024 sewer project, right? 204, no, I'm sorry. The 204 is the Public Works shop loan, which, again, you strictly service that debt or pay the principal and interest on that debt with a debt service levy. It doesn't come from anywhere else right now. Make sense? Questions, Kurt? You look like me, you were lost.
Which number were you saying, 204?
On page 10, the Fund 204 numbers
Oh,
at the
204,
bottom.
okay.
Yep.
Towards the bottom.
Yep, I was.
Okay.
I thought you were looking over at the
No,
number there.
that's the Public Works shop loan, yeah. I feel like I'm really going fast.
How much do we owe left on that?
I can go look real quick, Kurt. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but
You might have made too many payments yet. Is it?
it's just, yeah, I'm not sure
I don't know if they
what
put
you
some
took it
down
out
on it though
for.
either, if they would've,
And while I'm up, I'm just gonna grab all of them.
like, I mean, to start, you know, like if they needed
Yeah.
a certain amount to put down on it first.
Okay, through 2033. So you took a 10-year, geo loan.
Is that one of those loans that we can pay off early or not?
Let me look, I'm looking to see where, because usually it'll tell me on here when it can be. Oh, redemption, 2027. So yes, it can be paid early. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep,
And then money was borrowed how?
through
Bank-
the
bank-
local bank.
Local bank?
Yep. I'm just gonna look real quick at the division to make sure I'm not missing something on that one. I said it was debt service, TIF, and local option, and those were the only three areas that service that debt. So there's an option, those two alone could probably be funded with local option if we get that vote to go through. Okay, so page 11. The 205 debt service fund is for the sewer project, and that's a transfer in strictly from sewer. Sewer, obviously, I'm sorry, the sewer portion of that SRF, State Revolving Fund loan, must be paid with, obviously, the sewer revenues. So that's transferring in that portion of that payment. The 206 fund, as you see, I penciled in a property tax line because the water, since we don't have water, right, has to be levied. I mean, it doesn't have to be, it could be paid with, again, it could be paid with local option, it could be paid, I don't think it could be paid with TIF. It could be paid out of the general fund, but I don't see that happening.
I mean, that's to pay for the sewer line, or water line,
The water portion of that
Water line.
project. Mm-hmm, yep,
the one.
Yep.
How they work, they open the valve on that yet?
I don't know.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, go ahead.
The next line, it was the Division Street Capital Project. We shouldn't have any, expenses or revenues coming in or out of that one. American Rescue Plan, same way, I've crossed those off. The 350, again, when we have a capital project that's being worked on, the state again says you have to have a separate capital project fund to receive revenues in if you're getting a loan or a GO bond and paying out the expenses. So some of these are old, but still have history, so I didn't want to inactivate them yet this year. And the
That's the 350?
the 350 is our sanitary sewer project. So I just penciled in that we might have one final retainage or reimbursement from Iowa Finance SRF that we need to show. It's just a guess, I don't know, we might not have anything. But I don't wanna have to do a budget amendment just if something falls over into July of 2024. So I'd rather have it in the budget than have to do an amendment just for that.
We had a big adjustment not too long ago.
I know, yeah. And then 360, that was the shop building capital projects, so we don't use that anymore. 610 is sewer. $1,000 for interest charges are the fees that get charged to each unit out there in Swisher. Rates will increase again on 7/1 of '25, and based on the number of households, that's what I did a rough calculation. And again, adding a few more houses, the revenue that we should be getting. Penalties, yes.
How many more rate increases are there?
There's two more,
This
You
one
know
and
that?
one more?
two more, should be.
I don't know, I can go pull the book real
We've had
quick
two
if you
this-
want me to, or no.
Maybe there's four, we've done two.
It's right here,
Well, there's
Why don't you check?
it's right here,
I
yeah.
think there should be two more, July and one more, I think. I think we've had two, and I thought there was four total.
I thought there was two, but I
Sanitary
couldn't remember how many we've had so far.
Which hopefully, if we get more houses and
Yeah.
more income, we can negate the fourth and final.
Right, that
And
was,
not up it.
that was kind of the thoughts, once that development started going in and those homes started coming online, that we may be able to forego the last.
So, yeah, there would be, it says in the code, July 1st, 25 to June 30th to 26, so the rates are set, $84.25 per month for residential and $139.25 per month for commercial. Now, on July 1st, and it says, and thereafter, they would increase to $95.50 for residential and $158 for commercial.
Two raises it. I thought we had two, Rudy.
Penalties are, just like it says, those are the penalties that people, when they don't pay on time, they get charged, and I do not discriminate. Sewer connection fees, again, since our connection fees are $2,000, anticipating 10 houses, maybe more, maybe, I don't know, it's just a guess. $20,000 for those connection fees. Miscellaneous charges are when somebody has an NSF transaction with the city. Sales tax is only on only commercial properties are charged sales tax, meaning the 6% state and 1% local option on their sewer charges. Residential properties are not charged sales tax on their sewer charges. So we receive that money in and we have to obviously submit it to the state. I mean, some of these transfers in, like transferring in $10,000 to the sewer capital reserve, there's money's budgeted in, and I noticed, and I probably skipped over some of these, but I was hoping to wait till the end to get through most of this to have a discussion about it. I know in fiscal year '25, which is what we're in now, the budget was real tight, remember? And a lot of these transfers into like capital reserves, which is this one here, capital reserve for sewer. They were kind of talked about not happening because the budgets were so tight. Now, maybe sewer is one we should still do because it's not based on general fund revenues. I don't know, but I didn't put any of those reserves in, or those transfers in for reserves, which those are like office equipment reserve, public works equipment reserve, bridge reserve, street, I don't know, there's a whole ton of them. And I can go grab a report that shows all of them, but I remember Tanya at the end of the budget making the recommendation to the council, because I was here, and the budget was so tight that those had to be wiped out. They couldn't be transferred in to set aside money. So, thoughts on it? Just leave them. And again, we could do it once we get to the end of the fiscal year. And if there's a surplus, maybe something, we didn't have to expense out. If we've had more revenues than expenses in that fiscal year, we can look at it then at the end of the fiscal year.
So tonight, basically, we're just going through all the revenue that we're gonna get coming in. So
Well, we've just, yeah, we're at the end of revenues here.
this is all the revenues.
Yeah, other than this last one here, the 740, which is the stormwater drainage. That, again, that is a charge on everybody's utility bill for,
Right.
stormwater, road, stormwater repairs.
Are you using much much money out of that?
No,
It isn't expensive enough for that.
not a whole lot, no, not that I've seen anyway.
Cause the only stormwater we have is just down on, end of roads, I think, isn't it? Is there any other?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
There's
any
storm
ditches,
sewers
oh
all
yeah,
over.
it's all over.
Orchard,
Fisher's
Oh,
Hole
okay,
Fisher's
Edition,
Edition, Orchard.
Yes,
Edition.
Orchard.
If there's a manhole or an intake that has
the
to,
intake
that
said
collapses.
like Orchard was a manhole for intake repairs.
They got a lot of problems with that one, haven't they?
Yeah, they didn't put enough drops in it when they freaking
Yeah,
did
there
it.
was.
And
I think, anyway, that's my personal opinion. I mean, you've got all of that running down to my old house, and then you get an ice jam, and then it just
I seen there was water leaking
heaves
out
up my driveway and everything else. I sat in a meeting here 15 years ago probably, told him the problem I was having. Larry Svek, which Larry knows a lot about groundwork and stuff like that, he's no dummy. He looked at me and he goes, Kurt, you know what that is? And I said, I know what that is. He goes, there's not enough drops up there. I said, exactly, it's all running right down to there and it doesn't get cleared out, and it's going right underneath my driveway and upheaving it. They said, city council and mayor said, we'll get right back with you. Well, this is about 15 years and they haven't got back with me yet.
15
Well, you
years.
probably entered the email.
That'll tell you that's how long that problem was. It was shortly after it was even done, that problem started. One thing I'd like to say, Shelley, is there any way, not tonight because we're not going over that stuff, but is there any way you can get us a number of what we've got forecast or budgeted in for engineering?
Yeah, actually, if we have time, since this only took us a half an hour, I do have some of the expenses ready if you wanna stay
Right,
and
because I
go
wanna
through some of
know, I
them.
wanna know what we're budgeted in for them before, I mean, because obviously we have a retainer. We pay a retainer every month, right? What
No, they bill us.
Oh, they bill us for
Yeah,
every single
we don't
project?
pay a flat amount, yeah.
Okay, I thought we had to have, I thought there was a minimum amount we had to,
No,
No,
that's why when we did
because
the lighting project and the camera project, they did that retainer for that project, that 30,000 that we approved, and then they bill us hourly off of that,
Right.
but we haven't.
but I'd like to know what we got budgeted in, because at one point, this council all sat here and said we were thinking about taking it out for bids.
okay. Yeah,
That we all brought that up, and we,
Taking
The engineering-
engineering services out for bid?
right, that, I mean, any vendor, anybody knows if you're buying, I'm using steel because I buy a lot of steel. If I'm buying steel from the same supplier all the time, I don't know if I'm getting I don't know if I'm getting, you take it out for bid. I mean, when we do capital projects at Newell, we have to get 3 bids for everything. I mean, I'm not saying we gotta get 3 bids every year, but how long's it been since we've checked it out? Wouldn't that be something that, I mean, wouldn't that be?
We haven't,
answer that, I mean, we could check with.
we
Tim.
haven't gone out and gotten separate bids for engineering services on a lot of the projects because HR Green is this Swisher engineering firm that we've hired to do our engineering.
Well, how did
Services.
you hired them and there's not a retainer fee then? There's not
They
a fee
were
that
hired
we have
back,
to pay them?
how many years?
Don't look at me,
I'm trying to
I
think how
don't
many
know.
years ago now
I mean, I
it
can,
was.
guess
Where
I've
we
never
did-
come across a contract with them, but I can.
I
look
just
in
think
the
that's something we need to
agreement.
know in our budget. I mean, are we forecasting to give them $1 million this year? Are we forecasting to give them 200,000? I mean,
Is there a fee normally around 20% of the project? Seems to me that figure rings a bell.
No, it's usually not that high,
You sure?
What's that?
depending on the project.
20%? Figure out.
Contingency usually is 20%.
Contingency usually is 20%, but no, engineering's not usually, depending on the project.
Yeah.
Well, now,
Oh,
like,
here, okay, resolution, okay, this was 2023. Approving maybe this is a certain project, though, let me read through this here first. Engineering services for the city, proposed agreement, notice proceeded. Engineering services,
I just know for a fact that when we did that water study and had the water vote and everything, there was one hell of a fee that we paid them for, I'm not gonna say for nothing, basically. I mean, we can say because we got information, but I could've got information walking around town.
Yeah, this agreement's just hourly, 110 per hour.
Okay,
There's no,
and there's no minimum hours that we gotta,
no,
and there's not a, so then why do you say they're contracted through Swisher then? Why does that mean, what's the contract for
let's see
then?
what this, let me get to see if this says
There's-
through a certain amount of years.
What about like a
There's-
project where they're doing that, you know, ash tree, you know, Swisher, they were, I see they had the DNR involved in that. Now,
I don't see anything.
how do we pay that fee?
Hourly.
Hourly?
Yeah, it's hourly.
And it's the same as the sewer lining project and everything else is billed hourly.
Well, I know, but you know, like the,
Agreement terminates 1 year from the start date, but will renew on an annual basis thereafter, subject to renegotiate. If either city or HRA does not desire to extend the agreement, blah, 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 30 days advance termination notice.
So, but it is on a yearly basis.
Yeah, it was for, it's dated October of '23, so it was for 1 year, October of '24, but then it just automatically continues unless either party serves
But it-
notice.
I was thinking every year we had to still have it
No.
discussed and voted in. Maybe not, maybe we didn't last year.
Well, you didn't, I can tell you that.
Okay,
so is it hourly? Now,
It's hourly, yeah,
is
it's,
that adjusted annually, or how
No.
does it adjust? Just where they bill us?
I'm pretty sure it's still 110
It's
an
still
hour.
110 hours.
Is it?
Yeah, and then, you know, of course.
It would have, if they were to raise their rates, they would
They'd have to
legally
come
have
let
to
you
come
know.
back to
Well,
us
yeah.
and we would have to okay it.
I just think it's a good practice for everybody in this town to know that we're doing our due diligence of getting best pricing and everything else around.
if you wanna open it back up to where we do
Yeah,
a search,
110 an hour,
to
it's all.
have other engineering firms come in and go through the whole spiel as far as us trying to select an engineering firm for the city to work with the city on all projects. Cause that's what we did back in 2014, I think it was. It was either 2014 or 15, I don't remember. And it was quite an extensive
Oh,
thing to do.
God, it is.
And HR Green actually came out with that council at that time as the top choice. And that's why we're still with HR Green. But I'm not advocating we have to stay that route. I mean, if you wanna open it back up, get ready to do some work. Cause there's a lot involved going through that process.
But every project we send out for bid, do they get involved in every one, or does
No.
Justin ask out for bids? He does,
Justin
doesn't
Justin can,
Well, yeah.
But-
Between Shelley or Justin.
Between Shelley and
Yeah.
Justin, yes.
Yeah, they're like the lawn care
he? Okay, so that,
one,
the smaller slugs.
yeah,
he just-
some of the
okay.
little stuff.
Basically where we don't need the overall supervision of an
An engineer.
engineer to
Yeah.
say, yes,
getting done
no, it's getting done right, or
Put the specs together.
put the specs
plans.
together,
Do we
plans
Do we
drawn.
expect a lot of projects this year, in this fiscal year, that's gonna take a lot of engineering?
There would be one that I know of that's not already approved, and that would be the next chunk of Camry.
Oh,
well, that and then whatever comes after that, if we have to go in and do repairs.
If we have to do repairs, it'd be the same, that would be
But
at
as,
that
but
time.
as far as like a major project, like
Absolutely
the
not.
sewer project or anything like that, we don't have anything basically in front of us yet. Down the road we will, like the bridge, that kind of stuff, that's gonna require engineering services.
So is that,
before we have any bridges.
is it all set up for the bridge on that road? Can we start that, next year, or this year, I guess, or summer? That's in the previous bid we've had already.
Right.
That's all paid for.
Yeah, all that's done.
But that didn't include the bridge?
No. No.
Why wouldn't you done the bridge when you're doing the road?
You're talking
So, one day
a
you're
lot
gonna
more
pay it.
money, a whole lot.
Every
more
year you
money.
kick the can, it's gonna cost you more.
That was before 3 of us sat up here, so.
That's right.
There's,
And what,
we have spent a lot of money in the last few years with
Yes,
this
we have,
division
right.
and this
Mhm.
sewer project, so I'm not for jumping on it.
Yeah, that's what was talked
No,
about
I'm
last.
not either, but my question is, that bridge doesn't line up with the road. And you have to add an expense when you look at that bridge to line it up with that road.
Well, no, you don't, 'cause that bridge has gotta be smashed and gone anyway.
Right.
So the new one, it doesn't matter
Yes.
where you put it.
But you're not gonna do this next year, you're gonna.
no. No, but what the life expectancy is for that current bridge is the reason why that's basically down the line from what this project was, is we didn't have to kind of push to have it done right now.
Yeah, the bridge isn't in bad enough shape to do
But
anything with it, to be forced to do anything
But
with
the
it.
thing to think about, you know, is not just that bridge, there could be other spots or areas around the town that something may come up that gets on our radar, and it needs to be done like within the next 2 years or something, and we're gonna have to really figure that out too.
Well, and again, just looking at the Division Street project, that will be completely paid for at the end of fiscal year '28 with TIF revenue. Actually, fiscal year '27 was gonna be the last fiscal year for levying a debt to service. Of course, because again, fiscal year '25 was the last year for local option. So you only got a couple more years really at, using TIF dollars of $71,000, so, and then that'll be done. So you won't have that debt anymore, if
Yeah,
there were a
which-
project.
This is just my opinion, and everybody's got that, but, if there's any money, extra money that needs to be, I would not take on any big projects right now,
Well,
obviously,
right.
because we don't have the money, but any like extra money, I'm advocating for that park. I mean, that's something that's, everybody is affected by that park, everybody in this town, it's not just 3 people on freaking Main Street, it's not just, it's something that the whole town can be proud of and that uses or whatever, even if they just take their grandkid up there a couple times a summer, you know, or whatever. I mean, if there's any extra money for anything, it should, that park and, you know, everybody's always talking about asphalting these alleys and everything else, I mean,
Wow, that's fancy.
well, we've got them,
Yeah, well, yeah, yep,
got one right here,
that's asphalted,
yeah,
I can't pay.
you got one right
Just-
here that's asphalted.
would say yes, I guess, and my experience, downtown alleys usually were asphalted, but not, mostly none in residential were asphalted.
What else the park needs to be done?
There's a lot that needs
There's
to
a
be
lot of
done.
things that gotta be
Ball
done.
The ball diamond, the infield needs to be fixed, it's lime, so it's hard as a rock.
Mhm.
It needs to have actual proper infield put in. The
Fence.
fence
Fence.
never
Still
got
haven't anything
fixed.
done to it.
I thought they were doing something with that fence.
It
What happened there?
didn't get done.
The pavilion.
The pavilion needs to be,
Well, there
Hold
was
up on
something
it.
with the outfield fence that got done, right?
Mm-mm.
They didn't get done?
no,
What,
Because-
I thought they hired, yes, they did, yes, they did.
We approved something, I
I
thought.
paid something.
did you?
Yes, I did,
I thought
but it didn't
so.
get done?
I don't
Why
know.
the hell did they submit an invoice to pay it then?
Unless they just, it submitted the invoice?
I have to go look at
It might have been done.
it. I'm positive.
Maybe they just pulled it down.
I thought they were supposed to pull it down or
I'd
something.
like level it with the
Yeah.
ground or do something with,
The other thing
right?
you need to do is the parking lot up there.
Yeah, well, that,
Well, we
you,
keep talking about the parking lot there, yeah. And the concession.
no,
It'd
that's,
be nice if
in.
somewhere down the line,
Oh.
for that
Yeah.
old old concession
We put it in the
thing out of
budget.
there.
I'm just saying, you go around to these other small towns around here like Fairfax and Ely
He's
and
just
everything.
asking because he
Look
was
at their
at the last
parks, I
meeting.
mean, their parks are really freaking nice.
Have you ever been
I
on
mean,
Palos?
Yeah, I know, yeah, but that,
I mean, they
3/4
got a
of that
nice
is free money.
concession stand.
But I'm just saying it's, the park is something that the whole community uses, and that's who we represent, is the whole community.
And we did set money aside for it this year already.
I know, I'm just saying, like, if there's any extra that we don't use out of this budget,
Well, Patty Urban's pretty involved, there. She had a lot of ideas, I think.
Yeah.
And she's the one that got the fence, the outfield fence,
Yeah, I thought she did.
worked on and gave me,
So.
and submitted the invoice for it, so.
Yeah, she's pretty involved.
Anyway, do you wanna move on
Yes.
with some of the expenses then?
If we could do, at least start on it.
Yeah, I
if
mean,
there's-
we'll see how long you wanna stay, and conversations like this can pop up anytime, don't you just stop me. Just to finish up here, your last page, the total revenues for the city then are 2,435,280, which you see, if you look back a couple of years ago even, is more in line with, I mean, it's down obviously, but it's more in line with where we are. The current budget obviously has the sewer project, revenues of like 3.5 million coming in from the, Iowa Finance Authority and the bond that we got, so. Okay,
Yeah,
so,
This doesn't represent any new loans coming in, right?
no.
Okay.
No. This one's mine. Okay. Couple that way, couple this way.
you got everything here then?
This is all general funds. I mean, we don't have to get through all of it. We'll decide how long you wanna stay. Park Board is meeting tonight. They didn't meet last week, so they're meeting at 8, but
we'll be out here. Let's be out of here by like, let's say like
7.
yeah,
Seven?
7?
Seven.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 hours is a long night of
Yeah,
going
I would
through-
say
going through
6:30,
this,
but-
Yeah,
but-
6:30.
Okay,
We can
okay.
get you home before it snows.
Well, I'm gonna stay for the Park and Rec Board meeting just because, yeah, I wanna communicate with them what the council decided to cut.
6:30.
Remember those projects? Daryl, just so you know, this was, if you guys don't mind if I review this a little bit with them, this was the capital project list that I put together based on, you know, Justin saying the city hall needed a new roof, the emergency warning siren, the Krandick parking lot options for the whole thing, and the X's are the ones that got cut off, okay? So just so you know, new city hall, no, roof, no. The emergency warning siren, as we spoke about it, if we can get the grant, we'll do it, I guess, or if we don't, it's up to the council to decide if you wanna buy a new one at that point. The phase 1 of the lot, I'm gonna try to put it in, and I've since circled where these are gonna go, in budgeting. Seal coating streets, Tim, has, you know, every year the council wants to get some streets seal coated. The Castic Park lot, am I looking at that right? Yeah, Castic Park parking lot, 33,000, you'll see that coming up. The leveling and servicing of the tennis courts, and some of these came up from the Park and Rec Board as their recommendations. Council has cut that from fiscal year 26, although we're still gonna get a quote because I feel like it's gonna be pretty pricey, so we might wanna look at budgeting over a couple of years. The new pavilion at Castic Park, that was put in, and you'll see that in this budget. And then, I had asked Chad with Ion on some of the out of the ordinary expenses that he might have, and he said that the sewer UV would need some work. He gave me, numbers on these, it's not just something I pulled out of the air. And then bulbs and ballast, so we will put in $15,000 for making those repairs. And then, of course, we wanna televise and repair some of the sewer lines, and I did talk with Tim, and those were his recommendations.
Okay, now these are for, now, we've already approved one repair, haven't we?
It approved 3, was it, we
Three-
televised 4
Three
sections?
Three
We
sections.
televised 4.
How many are left?
6,
Repair.
6.
6 left yet?
yeah.
To televise.
And repairs of 3 so far
Repairs of
were
3 so far.
approved. So that's the list that was
Okay.
worked off of last meeting, just so you know.
Alright.
Okay. All right, so, okay, page 1 here. Payments to other agencies, that's, 82,992 is the regular patrolling of, with the sheriffs, because obviously that went up with the new agreement. And then an extra 5,600 for extra patrol, because that's what you budgeted last year. I don't, you talked about keeping it in, we'll put it in, if it gets used, it gets used, right?
Yeah.
That's a continuing discussion whether or not that's gonna continue, right?
Yeah.
The new siren, here's where, and again, these are all expenses now. So if we do put in a new siren, again, what I got from Dave was $40,000. What we paid to EMA, $686. Fire payments to the fire department are $27,556, same as last year. Animal control, this is one I never wanna use.
250?
Yeah. It's just, it looks like something that you always budget. Streets, general fund street salaries, 82,238. There is no part-time wages. And FICA and IPERS are paid out of, employee benefit levy, the 1112. Now, I want to explain something to you. The next line, where it says health insurance / life. You tell me if you want me to change it back. So when employees are paid the health insurance stipend, right now, it's always booked into salaries, which doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I would just think that the council, because it's not part of our salary,
So
it's a
that is-
stipend that we get.
So is that what this is separated?
Yeah, I'm separating that out. Just so you can see what you're actually spending, because when you see these numbers of 70 and 92, how do you know?
Right.
How do you know?
So this is only for, insurance only for the employees.
Correct.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
Yeah, so you'll see those separated out as we continue on here. Work comp does not get paid, it obviously gets paid out of the employee 1112 employee benefit fund. Insurance, your numbers need to change, some of these numbers have to change, so I don't know if you want to cross off for insurance, because how do I want to word this? I was trying to true up based on properties, values, what the insurance values properties at, and the equipment and all of the, vehicles. I was trying to make it a more true look at where the expenses should be, because we have a hell of a sewer plant down there that we've got about $5 million worth of property that we're paying insurance on. But yet, the amount of insurance that had been booked to sewer was exactly what we were booking for this building and the few buildings behind City Hall.
Can you get?
When these are valued at maybe $300,000 total, and 2 of them now have been down, right?
Yeah.
So I was trying to true our expenses up a little bit and get more of it into sewer. And then parks,
Can you use the insurance company to help you do that? A lot of the insurance companies will help
they
you.
provide it. I'm just telling you, to me, it seemed a little, it didn't seem like sewer was paying the fair share.
Just seems odd.
Yeah, it seemed strange to me, so, your number, the 2,417, has now since changed to 5,714.
So this is not.
2,417 is now 5,714. 5714.
So across the 2 4.
Correct. All right, so that changes the roads, bridges, sidewalks total also, obviously, right? So that becomes $72. Street lighting, I had gotten a notice from Alliant, as I don't know if any of your residences did, I think it was back last fall, that their rates are going up, I don't know, it was like 12, 15%, depending on what kind of a customer you were. I think we're a large customer, so I think ours, I put the most in, budgeting 15% if we were, I don't know if we're considered a large customer or not, so that's why those rates are going up. These are all the street lights. Other professional services, I just put $2,000 in because I know we had that street light over on Division, that's what this $30,296 was. You know, you just never know, right? I mean, if a pole gets hit, if a pole goes down in a storm, anything like that, so I just threw $2,000 into that.
So who broke it that time, or who?
I can't answer that.
Should the contractor cover that, or whoever, how come the city covered that?
I don't know.
Shouldn't they have insurance,
I never got a report on who damaged it, really, so I don't know.
Adam, you know anything about it? I don't know why we don't have to cover that. Any contractor should have insurance for that.
Well,
Just go ahead.
was it marked properly?
Well,
Because those are city lights.
yeah, but we don't mark them, do we?
Yeah, we do,
Yeah.
yes,
We do our own marking.
yes.
We have, Lions would come do it, don't we?
No. When 811 is called, and those are city lights, we mark them.
Would it?
Mhm.
Falls on the city,
Yep,
the city owned entity.
Okay. That's what we paid for it.
probably. I shouldn't have said that, I'm sorry.
I know.
That could be,
That's fine.
if I'm recalling
I
right.
just muttered.
$250 is snow, wages, I'm moving them into road use tax. $290 is garbage, we don't have any ACH or printing or technology charges or refunds. So we are paying $18.50 per pickup. We currently have 392,
Per month.
what am I trying, bills going out per month. So I upped it a little bit, I think I upped it to 400 times 1850 times 12 came to 88.8. Office supplies, I don't know, I don't know what we would need other than, I don't know. Postage, we do have postage because we do book some of the bills that get mailed into this for the garbage. And we do have to occasionally buy yard waste stickers, so. Total garbage is $90,400. These next 001-410s, this is library. Salaries, that's Laura's salary, $43,878. Part-time wages, $10,433, and seasonal temporary of $1248. These came from Laura. Again, group insurance, Laura does get the stipend, so I'm separating that out into a line item, we can all see it. Again, I can't, if you have questions for these expenses, we'll have to have Laura come if you wanna. I don't think
I think we trust it.
anything really went up. Again, your insurance figure has changed from, I don't even know what you got. Insurance is about 3/4 of the way down. But I don't think much changed on her. Somewhat up, somewhat down. Insurance, what was insurance there, Daryl? $220, that's now $849.
What, so we rent that, the lease for 9,000, we rent that building?
Yeah, that's paying that $750 a month.
Gotcha, that
To
goes to
South
South
Slope.
Slope?
Mhm.
Gotcha,
Yep.
okay.
Just let me know when you're ready to move on to parks. So total library of $100,008. Parks, salaries is actually going down because remember we talked about when we looked at that salary worksheet, how we're trying to get a truer reflection of the amount of time that's spent, before, you can see $32,400 was budgeted for parks when, and that's how, and unfortunately, I'm not changing anything this year. So in our payroll system, you can set each employee salaries to be split. Like my wages are split, 75% go to the general fund clerk
Right.
department and 25% are expensed into sewer. Justin and Dylan's were kind of split differently based on both of them, and I had asked Justin, I said, do you feel like these are correct split of wages? And we talked a little bit about Parks had questioned for what
percentage of time that they were
for what
budgeted for.
what gets done in the parks versus what they're paying for salaries, or what's being booked into parks for salaries. So Justin and I had a conversation, and only 10% of salaries are getting, wages are getting booked into this fund versus, as you can see, about 30% of their time being booked into parks. Okay? Again, group insurance, this is the percentage of the stipend. Building repair and maintenance, nothing new there. Grounds maintenance. Why was there so much in this fiscal year, 11,000? 11,000. Well, that sure doesn't equal the notes that were written.
11,000.
Maybe 6,000 was the normal? 2, 4, 1, 2.
For grounds?
Anyway, yeah, grounds maintenance.
Oh, 11,000 is for, in the current.
In the current, well, 11,000 is in the current, yeah. I don't really know, maybe, I don't know. So we booked $6,000 into ground maintenance. I think this is where that fence is. The $7,097, I think that's where the fence is. Do you mind if I go check?
No.
It'll take me a second. Yeah, lifetime fence, outfield fence repairs at $4,395.
That didn't get,
Huh?
that's all done then? Obviously?
Yeah, that's in this $7,097 for this, it was done, yeah. Vehicle repairs, like mowers. Utilities, again, increased that 15%. 1,500 for telephone, that's internet that's out at the park for the security cameras. Insurance, your figure changed from whatever it is there, what is it, 880 to 1758?
Should be 17.
Yes, sir. Printing and publishing, $200, it's not been used. What we would need to print or publish, I guess if there was any projects that needed to go out for bid. $1,000 for supplies, 3,000 was budgeted before, it just seems pretty high based on the last couple of fiscal years. I mean, I think it's just mostly TP and bug spray and wasp spray or, ant spray, I don't know. So I bumped that down just a little bit. Capital outlay, again, I wrote some notes there so you can see that what was talked about on that capital list.
Yeah.
The park
Parking lot.
Castic Park Pavilion of 25,000 and the parking lot 34,000. Now I rounded up. The parking lot was 33,500, I rounded it up. Just for easy numbers. Fun days, I bumped that up just a little bit. fireworks were 7, tractor pull 600, and porta potties. So total parks now is 99,167.
100 what?
I'm sorry, 99,167. Community beautification, other contractual services. So the park and rec, oh no, I'm sorry. Is that park and rec trees? Yeah, $5,000 for trees and $1,000 for market. The farmers market ladies asked for an increase, and I had the correspondence, they sent that in early January, oh, that's not theirs, early January, oh, it's here somewhere. Anyway, we usually gave them $500, and they're asking for 1,000. Is that you? Who is that?
Me.
Okay, I thought maybe it was the owl.
This is for,
Do you want me to explain, find the little note and explain what they're, why? Oh, here it is. Where do I have it? Yeah, she sent that back in November. Dear board members, farmers market celebrating 10th year anniversary during the summer of '25. They held the market every Thursday from June to October, provides residents opportunity to purchase fresh produce, baked goods, crafts, and Swisher. Gathering place for visitors and residents with live music. They don't charge vendor fees. They encourage vendor participation as well as neighbors who may have an abundance of produce, baked goods. During the 2024 season, we welcomed 31 unique vendors to our community. Most recent annual community appreciation event, we served 140 hot dogs and chips to community members and visitors. The vendors prepared dishes to share, often featuring the produce they sell. It was a highly anticipated event. Swisher's Farmers Market not only attracts people from our local community, but also from surrounding communities. Our Facebook page has over 1,000 followers, with many of them from Cedar Rapids, Ely, Shueyville, Solon, North Liberty, and Walford. Personally chatted with many visitors from Cedar Rapids who shop at our market, appreciative of the close parking and wonderful vendors. In the past, the city of Swisher has provided our committee with $500 a year to support the market. We use these funds to give the musicians a small stipend, pay for the hot dogs for the community appreciation event, and to advertise the market. In 2024, the market was a recipient of a grant from Johnson County. However, that grant program has changed, and we do not have that funding secured for the upcoming season. Those funds did allow us to increase our stipend to the musicians and increase our advertising presence. As a result, they experienced an increase in foot traffic. With this email, the Swisher Farmers Market Committee would like to request an increase in funding to $1,000 from the city to help us cover the increased costs of community appreciation event and to provide a stipend to the musicians for the 25-26 season. So that came from them, so. Okay, yes, no?
With it, on this tree deal, we're running a little problem this last budget. Have we made an inventory of how many ash trees we have left in Swisher yet?
should have a list.
Yeah, we have a report over there on a chart that I can't read. I'm not a tree person though. I mean, I know it says something about vital, emergency, and I think there are, I can have Justin look at it and report to you. Or I can ask the mayor to have Justin look at it and report to you.
But I just wondered, because it just, I know there's another one that's gonna create a big problem, that's Summit in the 120th, right in the corner there. That's a big ash tree, that should have been this year taken down. And I don't know who's looking at these trees, that was stone dead last year.
That was, HR Green is the one that set the.
That's a big tree,
priority
to the south
schedule.
side, and it was stone dead last year, nobody done anything with that one.
Wasn't Mark?
Huh?
It's not Mark.
Which is like the one up on Swisher Drive. They took the one that had more green leaves and left the dead one there. That's my point, you know,
This would be something.
they're gonna start dropping,
This is something we can get on the agenda, the next meeting or something. Possibly talk about which ash trees we're looking at.
So is it the number you're questioning, Daryl, or
The
the?
dollar
No,
amount.
he's questioning
The
this.
dollar amount?
Yeah, just that little batch cost us over 8,000.
Little, that was 12 trees.
Yeah, the little bitty trees you had, we done in the afternoon.
They're small trees,
They were small,
they were big, they were just,
any 20-inch,
It's not cheap to remove
No, you
trees.
never cut trees heavy out of them.
Yeah, right.
You as far as
Well,
something.
I wanted, and again,
No,
this is just a suggestion, you tell me hell to the no if you don't wanna do it. Because a lot, not a lot, there are cities out there that, have implemented what do they call it, a tree fee.
A tree
Yeah, or a yard waste fee, or urban forest utility, yeah, I know I pay
to the
it.
citizens,
Yeah, I pay it, and then again, I'm in Marion, but I pay it. But a
with
little
this sewer
city,
thing, I wouldn't up anybody's fees right
a
now.
little city
It's
like
causing enough freaking uproar.
Marcus, which is 1,000, so right at ours, same population, they do it. But anyway, that would on 400 utility accounts at $2, brought in $9,600 a year, which would have given a
I
little
don't
more.
think you wanna start that.
I don't think you do either, I mean, friend of mine
Well,
lives in Walford, and we're paying 3 times our sewer as what they are right now.
It's
so.
just, again, you're wanting to up an expense and, yeah, so
Well,
what do you want me to put it to?
Well, I can't give you a figure, I don't know how many trees we got, because
You're not gonna do them all
Yeah, we're
in
not-
1 year.
Yeah, I think that's why they've been
And that's
budgeting
why each-
$5,000.
How many will 5,000 do?
Well, each year we've been
It'll do.
budgeting X amount.
2?
8 to, depending on the size of the tree, but it usually does 8,
Yeah.
6 to 8.
Here's your urban forest management plan from the DNR. I don't really think that it is, HR Green that's saying, these are the trees you have to do, it's based
I
on.
don't have any problem with
Based on that
the
report.
$1,000 farmer's market thing, I mean, if they're not getting the grant that they were getting, then,
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
it's $500 more, I mean, should we blow that out every freaking afternoon around here?
You just tell me what you want to budget in.
$1,000 for the.
No, I'm talking about the trees.
Oh.
I thought that's what we were on
Well, it's all the
trees.
same line.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in
Well,
the past, that's what
My
was
biggest
budgeted.
concern is those trees.
I would leave what you got here for the trees.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it. Each year we've been budgeting X amount to do whatever we can with the trees that are on our list. And I know there are some trees that are probably not in too good a shape or are dead that haven't gotten to yet. But if they are on that list, we'll eventually get to them. There are residents in this town still have ash trees up that probably aren't in the best shape either, and I know a few of them.
Mike, do you, in looking at the history 2 years ago and last year, do you see 86 and 82? Do you maybe want to bump the 5 up to 8?
Well, 6,000 is gonna get you many
Well,
trees.
6,000 isn't trees, it's only 5,000 right now.
Yeah.
1,000 is the market.
Yeah, 5 won't buy you much for trees. Cause I got one,
I'd at least bump it to 8,500.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
cause I got one at 2,500, if you had to come
what
back.
we
to
have
someone-
okay, the current budget, we have 10, or what do we have budgeted?
I think I amended that because based
The
on
current one.
what the 12 trees you did, which was, what, $8,600?
You had up it for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you just go 9,000 and 1,000, then it's an even 10 grand for that.
okay,
My biggest concern, those ash trees aren't gonna start growing back again, they're starting to drop branches in there.
Right,
Right,
They're in our right of way. I
well,
think we got some,
there's big issues when they start dropping limbs.
well, especially I went up on Swisher or Summit and
Summit.
120, that's a big tree, and you won't get that one done for 2,500.
Yeah, I would,
Well, yeah,
It's not even on that list.
it isn't, is it? That's what I'm saying, I wanna hoop,
the DNR.
It's a DNR.
well,
They missed it.
I can.
And it's from 2020, so it's what, no,
sure
5
it's
years
in,
ago?
it's in city property, right away?
Don't know. That'd be the other thing.
That's another thing.
If
You
not,
need
that
to
stop
find-
sign's on
you
private
need-
property then.
We need to make sure it's on city property, it's not on somebody's property, because that's their responsibility, not the city's.
Yeah, I don't know, it looks good. It looks good, but it's awful, one of the closest ones on there.
There are a bunch on some that are marked on here, but not on.
That's
Not that
not,
one.
that's not one of them.
Alright, move on.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, there's your $30,000 for engineering expenses.
Yeah. Seen that at the bottom,
Yeah,
which we had budgeted in the current budget setting.
Right.
And how often do we go over
I don't know, I can't tell based on the history what you had budgeted. I'm guessing you had 30,000 last year, I don't know. Because that would have been fiscal year 24. And you did the contract in fiscal year 24, or not the agreement. So maybe you were spending more, obviously. I don't know. Are these mine? These are mine. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I'm
not.
getting all mixed up here. That's another one, this is for spreadsheets. Okay, so 30,000. Contractual services, I put $10,000 in here again. Obviously, Farmers Market got their grant last fiscal year in 24. We budgeted to 10,000 in currently, haven't spent anything, but I know that your community fund group has been talking, right, that, community fund, I think that's what they're called. No, no, your community fund, like Johnson County Community has that fund, and Swisher has their own board, it's Dan
Oh,
Johnson
yeah.
and,
I know what you're talking about, there's about 30-some thousand in there.
well, that's the Johnson County one,
Yeah.
and local organizations and non-for-profits can request funding from, this group in Swisher, which is, again, Dan do you know who?
They gotta be not-for-profit
It's
though?
not,
Bonder checks.
Bonder
Keep
checks,
that
yeah.
As much as you can.
Lindsay, is it Lindsay Soika? Is it Lindsay? And there's another lady that
Yeah,
I don't know them all.
I don't remember.
Anyway, they're gonna be coming to the council for a request of some of that money. The city has, I wanna say, I wish I had my treasurer's report in front of me. Maybe 5 to $10,000 in it. I don't have my treasurer's report in front of me.
You say they're gonna be coming for this,
I think they're gonna be coming at this meeting Monday night, coming up.
where we had.
For some of the money. No, not Farmers Market, that's a different group.
I'm over here at $599.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
10,000.
Yep.
Okay, that's one of the people that be coming,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the Farmers Market people.
okay.
I just wanted you to know the $5,000, remember when I just read they had gotten that grant?
Mhm.
Okay, that's the expense last year, last fiscal year, that it passed through the city. The grant came to the city of $5,000, city cut a check to Farmers Market of $5,000. Now this Swisher
Yeah,
Community
right.
Fund group is going to be approaching the city to fund a project. I don't know, it's not,
They haven't determined what project yet.
I don't know. I'm not involved in their fund, their group.
From what I haven't heard that they've approved.
And these have all gotta be non-profit though, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So they'll be coming, I gave Dan an agenda request, I think he's gonna be at the meeting Monday night,
Okay,
so, but I haven't gotten it back yet, so.
but in the current budget, we have the $10,000
Mhm.
budgeted. So it would fall within that amount.
It could. I don't know. They weren't even put together as a group until
Mike,
last fall.
Yeah,
Yes, son?
I don't even have who they are because there's nothing on our.
Well, they're
site.
not an official board of the city.
Yeah.
So we don't
right,
handle the money.
I've sat in on 2 meetings that they've had, and they might have had another one that I didn't get to, the last one, so maybe they had some talks.
They were here last
or
week.
something. Okay,
Mhm.
so maybe they settled on some project
I don't
or
know.
something? Cause if they're coming to the council,
wait till they come to
Yeah, wait until
council.
they come. I just put $10,000 into fiscal year 26, that's what I'm telling you. I don't know.
Well, part of the reason I didn't sit in on their last one is because we have a mayor now. And
He's not on the board.
Well, I know, but I
He's not on that
figured
group.
maybe he could step in there and sit in one of their meetings too. and
They're their own
find
group.
out what they're doing.
Anyway, moving on. Salaries. So mayor gets 1,800 plus, we had 30 meetings last year. So, and then again, council members, I budgeted in for 30. It's a little down from last year, but I think we'll be on target. I don't know what, the dues is for mayor to be a member of the Iowa League or some mayor's group through the Iowa League. Travel or conference, if there's any travel or conferences they wanna go to, and then the $650 is the mayor's cell phone.
What do you guys feel about is the council paying enough? I know I know nobody's sitting on this council to make money, or money or whatever, but I'm just telling you right now, Ely's, council members, right now, I mean, they're a bigger town, but they don't have any bigger problems than we got, they just got more people. They deal with the same stuff that Swisher does, that all of us council members do. They get a flat $2,400 rate. I'm not saying that's what we do or whatever, I'm just saying, what do you guys feel about that? Do you think 40 is what we should for every meeting?
$40 per meeting has been the same since, since 2001.
Is your grocery bill the same as 2001?
Right, but there has not been an increase.
That's what I'm saying, I'm just saying, there's,
pay or
I don't give a crap if it's 40 or 50 or 20 or whatever, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to get
But
more
I'm
money.
just for history.
But we can't get anybody to sit on the council, hardly, we can't get anybody to run, we can't get anybody to come to meetings. I mean, at some point, I mean, like that article, that was in the Iowa City paper, it's like, you gotta weigh what your time is with your kids, your free time is compared to doing this stuff. I don't care if it stays $40, I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying, if other towns are paying $2,400, and, yeah, Ely's bigger, but it ain't, they deal with the same stuff we deal with, probably less.
Shueyville is one meeting a month, and it's $480 a year.
Yeah.
So 480 divided by 12.
But they probably
They
just
meet
have
once
one
a month,
once
yeah.
a month, yeah.
But that's still, isn't that almost the same as what?
I think Sherwood's quite a bit less stress than Swisher.
About
Yeah.
2 years ago, I brought this up to the council because at that time, I talked to Tanya and we went through the whole exercise to figure out in the past, when the last raise was for council, for mayor, what that was and what it entailed because of the projects and the time spent for all the individuals that are in these positions.
It doesn't just stop with,
Right.
it doesn't just stop with a meeting.
Right.
I mean,
And I
Adam
think-
hears from residents, Daryl hears from residents, you hear from residents, I hear from residents.
I'm just saying, but even if what you hear from residents, but what do you do outside of that? Like,
That's what I'm
if you're-
saying.
If you're involved in any specific projects,
Well, and that,
and extra meetings and everything else, which you don't.
you're a sounding board at all times anyway,
Right, but you
no
don't
matter
get,
what.
you don't
That's
get
what you get
paid.
when you're elected.
That's what I mean, I'm not saying
To
that,
say that.
I'm just saying
What
that
you're getting paid for is just
we
a
can't get
council
anybody
meeting.
I mean, at some point, nobody in this room
Well,
is making what they made in 2001.
right.
I mean, you can't expect, I mean, I'm not saying you get $100 every friggin' meeting or something, but I'm just saying, $40, and what did it figure out to be up for us last year, like $1,100 or something? I mean, even if you bumped it to $50 a meeting, I'm not saying like,
Okay.
we gotta be at $2,400 because Ely is or Fairfax is or anything, but at some point, you gotta want people to see a little plus of being on council. I mean, yeah, it's community service, everybody's on here because we wanna do community service, but community service, I mean,
It's a bit more than just doing community service. I mean, you're, like you stated, you're putting a lot of.
I'm just saying that's why we all got, ran and got elected and everything was because we wanted to do community service. We didn't do it to make, that we were gonna have our second income or something, but.
I'll throw my 2 cents in. I don't care one way or another. At my age, I don't have a job to go to. So I do a lot of driving around town, seeing what's going on and talking to people. And if I got some problems, I'm gonna expound upon it. And I don't have kids to worry about anymore, so I don't care one way or another, you know. If you guys, if you guys wanna raise, fine. If not,
Well,
I don't care.
But
My-
this is not where we discuss getting the raise. What we're talking about is budget here.
Well, I'm just saying, but if you upped it 20% or what
I
would
need to
that?
know for budgeting.
Yeah, that'd be,
Right.
yeah,
I don't care, I don't care one way or another, because my situation is different than you guys'. You know, I think you guys got jobs yet, don't you?
yeah.
Mike, you're retired.
And this isn't about like us trying to get rich off
No,
this.
I understand, but
I'm just saying, it's,
I don't care one way, I'll go either way.
right, it's idiotic to think that Ely can afford to pay their city council members $2,400 a year. And if you think they got 2.5 times more problems than we've got, or complaints and bitches than we do, you're nuts. I mean,
I'm sure they go through a lot of the same stuff that we have to do.
exactly, it's just on a bigger scale. I mean,
No,
they don't even
no,
have to
no,
deal with half of
More
the problem.
projects.
And to show more interest, people wanna, have the job.
Exactly, if somebody wants to, it might even up, like, say, okay, somebody's gonna make $1,500 this year, you know?
It might be open, at my age, I may not make it the full
So the
4
extra
years.
300, you think is gonna have them banging the door down?
No, I'm not, well, I don't think, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter, I just keep it at 40, but I mean, what are you gonna do, keep it at 40 till 2050?
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I mean, you said you did it in 2001, so that's 24 years ago, you've kept the same wage.
yeah.
Did you do that in Amana,
ever
Mike?
since.
Did you keep the same wage for 20 years?
No.
Adam, you making the same money you made 20 years ago?
No.
That's what I'm saying, I'm just saying, it's,
I'm not, cause I'm retired that long.
yeah.
Again, that just
No,
for, just for history purposes,
I would say let's raise it to 50,
a couple years ago, when we went through
raise
the
it to
exercise,
50, and,
What about the mayor pay then?
well,
same thing.
I think we should keep
I
it.
mean-
Yeah.
Don't,
Again, I just
But
need to
that's-
know.
but we,
Yeah.
I get that the meeting
It's
pay,
next year's budget.
but
This-
what about the 1,800 a year?
this is the thing. You could put in the budget if you wanted to increase how much goes in the budget, but if the council decided to vote to increase pay for the council and the mayors, it would not really go into effect until the next election.
No, that's not true. I mean, it can go through its three readings come July 1st, because that'd be the new fiscal year. You cannot have the pay increase in an election year.
Right, which this coming year is an election.
Oh, that's right, this fall is an election year.
That's why I
So
said.
it couldn't go until January, which would
Right.
still be in the fiscal year.
Exactly.
That would-
It doesn't matter to me, I'm just saying, I'm just telling you, like, what the, you guys are setting a precedent, if you guys are setting a precedent that nothing goes up for 24 years,
No, that wasn't my intent.
well then, yeah, then,
Because
I mean,
what
because
I-
everything else has gone up for 24
No,
years.
what I did is, we did the exercise of not just getting what Ely was paying, but we had a bunch of municipalities, small towns and everything, and what they were paying for compensation to council and to their mayors.
Is that
So-
when the other board pay dropped? Was 2 years ago then?
No. It
Because
was,
you used to pay other boards,
that was farther
according
back
to
than
what I
that.
hear from P and Z and Board of
Right,
Adjustment.
that was farther back than that.
Okay,
But at that time when it was discussed in here, cause I'm the one that brought it into council, that we should review, because it'd been since 2001, since there was an increase. And at that time, the council determined that they didn't wanna change it.
Mike, I think, I'm
I
gonna
don't
look at
care
this,
either way.
I think
If
it's
you guys
gotta
don't
be,
want it, it doesn't
I
matter
think
to
it's
me.
gotta be before the
Well, that
election.
was the previous council.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
gonna
I
look
mean,
into that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I say we raise the budget, have our rate to $50 a month, put it in the budget.
$50 a month or $50 a meeting?
Meeting.
I'm sorry, meeting.
Okay,
And
I
And
would,
we can put it to a vote, whether we have to do a vote to raise
three
anyway.
readings,
And if it
yeah.
doesn't pass, it doesn't pass.
And what, if anything for mayor then? I'm not advocating, I just gotta know.
Yeah.
Anything, no, just leave
They
that,
already make,
Right, they're already.
1,800 plus per meeting,
Exactly.
yeah.
okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, 50. And if we, if it don't pass, it don't pass. But
Right.
At least we.
Yeah,
have
and I
a
don't
budget.
care either way, it doesn't matter to me, I'm just saying,
Oh, you're right.
at some point, you gotta, I mean, what we pay for something we did 5 years ago,
Yeah,
Okay,
in this town, isn't the same as what we pay now.
so I'll recalculate, what, 30 meetings a month? At 50,
Year.
or a year, 30 meetings a year at $50 a meeting, then times 5, right? Do the math on that, somebody get their calculator.
1,500.
Per, times 5,
Yeah, times 5.
so what are we at?
7,500,
Thanks.
I think. Sound all right? Yeah,
Sure.
use calculators, that's 7,500, isn't it?
Who do you have now?
Fact check them.
How many people, 5?
15 times
30.
5.
1,500 times
Should be
5.
7,500.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so we're up in a whole $500 there. So 12,180. That math, I don't know why I can do that. Okay. Clerk. Wages, we're at 6:30. Do you wanna continue or you wanna stop? You got what, a few more pages?
Well, we got a couple more pages over.
4 pages, 3 pages after this one.
I don't care. I don't care. Go quick if you want to.
Okay, clerk wages, again, my wages, and then Mallory and Len are on the next line. No FICA, go ahead.
If you figure raises on this,
Yeah,
okay, you got it, okay, because if not, we need to do that.
yeah, again, 4.5% was
Okay.
budgeted
I
in
know
on
you're-
everybody.
I think you talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
just make sure you got it.
Health insurance, that's again the 75% of what I get paid for the stipend. Dues and subscriptions, that's like Iowa League of Cities, all those great things. Training, I don't know, budget, data tech, academy, I don't go to the academy budget, travel and conference, I go to the 2 IMFOA conferences and a budget workshop. IMFOA, Iowa League, I don't go to Iowa League of Cities has a conference, which I didn't go to. Payroll, no, IMC, no, I didn't go to. Anyway, I just left it at 2,500. Building maintenance. I know we talked about, we the new roof, and Tanya talked about this when she was here. And I agree, after coming in and out of this door in the rain, could we get an awning over the door?
Over this door here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I talked to Justin today, either building one, I found one online that was like $500, he was gonna do a price out of building one in. So I put $1,000 in, does that seem unreasonable?
No, that's
Okay.
fine.
I don't know what grounds and repairs, office equipment repair, no. Utilities, again, I bumped that up based on Alliant. Telephone, I left it at 2,000. The insurance is now $6,153.
600?
$6,153.
On that telephone for the
Yeah.
2,000, is that including your internet here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha.
6,000 for
What?
insurance, you said?
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
620?
So that does include this building and the building behind.
You got 2197 on
Yeah, I told you to change it.
that.
6153.
615.
6153. Publications, of course, we have to publish all of our minutes and public hearings and everything. Technology services, I left that the same. We do use Zoom. I talked with, oh my God, is it Jacob? The guy who's the IT guy on the Park and Rec board. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. I just called him today. Anyway, about IT services, which I think I budgeted it in the next line item, but we do have GoDaddy Norton, we have our website, we don't have Splashtop anymore. And,
You were talking about this.
but I left that,
years ago.
huh? Yeah, I left it at 4,000 because I would like to get a laptop for me. And again, talked with, I think it's Jacob Hardgraffen. He's with the Swisher Youth Sports Group. He does IT services. So I don't know, I just pulled a number out of the air. We're gonna meet tomorrow. On the next line item, there's the copier and maintenance and G-Works. And I bumped that up $2,000 for, IT services, which we might need to go more because, but Tanya budgeted in 3, and that was for the copier and G-Works support. And the G-Works support went from like $3,500 to over to $5,400. Remember we talked about this last meeting? Our software is gonna not be served anymore at the end of the year, so we could go out and get other software at a tune to $27,000 to $30,000, or be moved to their upgraded version at $5,400 and not pay for any of the module costs. So that's I wanna do that. So we're actually gonna bump that $5,000 up to, let's go 7. Contractual services, it's our audit, filing fee, codification, and paying our treasurer. Office supplies, $2,000, postage, $400, I buy a roll of stamps. Miscellaneous hasn't been used. So clerk one is gonna change a little bit. Election, I budgeted in $2,000. You never know, we have to do a special election, better to have it than need it not. Legal expenses, I left that the same at $5,000. Looks like we're on track for that. And that's basically it. That number, of course, is gonna change based on some of those added expenses. So look at there, we got through 3 pages in 7 minutes.
General fund.
To the general fund.
Just real quick question.
Yeah.
The insurance on you said it was on this building and the one behind it,
Yep.
and it's over $6,000 a year?
That is based on how it was budgeted previously. There's gonna come a time when I'm gonna get it at the true figures.
Okay, 'cause that's-
All right.
that seems awful high.
I thought so too, that's why I wanted to get it at the true figures.
Motion to adjourn.
Hold on. Roder, who seconded that?
I did.
Klein,
Second.
all,
All in favor?
yeah, what time is it?
6:38.
Okay, thank you guys.
You guys need these back?
Next